Welcome to Think Tank, powered by Vodacom. They say that a change is as good as a holiday, so pack your bags. We're leaving the land of the never-ending Rugby World Cup preview, and we're going to chat a little bit of Currie Cup today.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, those previews, death by preview, it's really, really horrible. What's a good man?
It feels like it's been months and months and months of talk about this World Cup. You know,
Yes,
I'm almost
and
over it.
yes.
It hasn't even started.
Get me to Box vs Japan. We can talk about the real rugby. In the interim, come on, let's talk Currie Cup, man. It's been quite exciting.
Yeah, look, the domestic championship, I think has been some pretty good rugby. I think there's some reasons for it, but it's been actually watchable for a change. What are your thoughts?
To a degree. I mean, I think there's been a lot of scrappy rugby. I think the breakdown has been horrible. The respect for the pull, as the Kiwis like to say, seems to be non-existent. So there's definitely more ball in hand, apart from the Sharks, who no longer know who they are. But much more ball in hand, embracing a sort of heads-up kind of rugby, almost at the detriment of the breakdown. So coughing up the ball all the time, lots of scrappiness at the breakdown. But then, when it does work, we're seeing some wonderful rugby, especially from the Lions and the Bulls. And the Bulls out wide, Gallant, Ishmael, Ulengo. I mean, just wonderful to watch. Proper talent.
Yeah, Ulengo leads the competition. I think 6 tries scored, and Warwick Gallant has beaten the most defenders. So, I mean, they're right up there in the stats.
But I just think we are seeing that attacking style. Primarily from the Lions and Bulls, and it's just, it's wonderful to see that it's at a level below Super Rugby is quite obvious. But I think that's what the Currie Cup's about. If we talk development, if we move away from race, then we talk to develop our game, bring in skills. I think the most irritating thing about the Currie Cup at the moment is the 22-man squads. The future of rugby is 23. You have 2 props on the bench.
Why are we still playing with just 1 prop on the bench? I don't understand.
Dark ages. I think even at under 21 level, Gary Gold was saying that we play 23-man squads.
Right.
So it's been messy. I mean, it's been quite interesting to see Julian Redlinghurst and Ruan Drab play at least. I mean, they've probably got an audience of 1.
Well, certainly 1 cheering.
Exactly. The sad part of that has been Thomas Tutoy. He thinks he's a tight head, and he might become one, but he certainly isn't one now. And he gets messed around a bit, and he comes on at loose head. He does particularly well. He struggles at tight head, but he just still wants to play tight head. So we've seen some roundabouts, but because of the 22-man squads.
I thought we'd get through 1 episode without you saying props, but obviously that's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
Listen, just in terms of the quality of the competition and the style of play that you're enjoying, is that not maybe the one upside of having a bunch of players go overseas, is that when the sort of cat's away, the mice play, a lot of those big thumpers like Michael Rhodes and Dwayne Vermeulen are not in the Currie Cup. So the disparity between the best players and the worst players, there's quite a big gap, and that allows you to play almost high school rugby.
You raise an excellent point. Traditionally, South Africa have had these bruiser ball carrier 7s like a Vermeulen, like an Alberts, and we just don't have that in the Currie Cup. In fact, off air you were pointing out about how the likes of Carr it can't quite get across the gain line. It's one of the issues that I think Province are facing is that massive attacking breakdown skill or just getting across the gain line. So instead we're moving away from the breakdown, which is perhaps making it less effective, to my point a little bit earlier. So it becomes a bit scrappy. We're not sure how many people to dedicate to it. And therefore you don't keep the pull. Instead, you're hoping you move it, but then you've probably got assets out wide, which is the balancing act that you play. And I think we're probably seeing that in the Currie Cup.
There's been a total reversal in the trend from Super Rugby, where the teams that kick and tackle more winning. In Currie Cup, it's the team that carries the ball the most. So it kind of talks to the kind of rugby you want to see.
Lionel Cronje, if you look at the app, 50 kicks. And it's 17 more than the next most kicked. Look, I mean, I think the Sharks have got a little bit more issues than just Lionel Cronje kicking too much. But it just seems that that's the kind of game that they're employing, while the rest of the world, well, not the world, the Currie Cup is more ball in hand stuff.
Bulls, Lions, top of the log, unbeaten. They face each other this week. Can Sharks and Province catch those guys?
No. I mean, there's 1 level up, 1 level down. I think. The semis will be interesting. I think by the time that you get to the business end, Province and Sharks will be okay. But I do think this weekend is going to be fantastic to watch. The Bulls, very exciting ball in hand, but they do make errors. They've got quite a high error rate, where the Lions have less of that. They've pulled in a little bit more sort of Super Rugby structure. So I think they'll probably have the edge. And if the Bulls do want to get to a level where they're sort of fighting against the Lions, they're going to have to cut down some mistakes.
Griquas are right at the bottom of the log. Don't have a lot of log points. I think it's 1 or 3. I mean, they're really right at the bottom there. Hasn't been pretty. A question of the week comes from the Blunt Bodkin. He wants to know, why are we expanding the Currie Cup? Which is a decent question considering the...
It's a blooming good question.
Yeah.
So I coach rugby in the Western Cape, and what we've done there in the Super League, League A is pull in. It was just the top 8, and now it's over the 10 or 12.
Yes.
And what's happened was that people thought it would be quite interesting and it would be diverse, and you'd have a team from left field playing against a really strong team, and it actually hasn't happened.
Hasn't worked.
No, so you've still got your top 6 fighting for the top 6 spots, and then the bottom 4 teams haven't won a game. There's a 50-point disparity. So that's the one thing that we do have to guard against. Especially with Vodacom Cup now departing the scene. Are we devaluing the Currie Cup to an extent where it's actually going to be unwatchable?
Yeah.
Because as it stands, it's a bit scrappy, but it's certainly the next level of rugby in South Africa, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
But you devalue it to another level, and I think we could be in trouble.
So Tank, just talking about the expansion there, I'm not actually clear how, just with 8 teams, how he worked out the seeding. I know Province play a bunch of guys twice and some other guys not. It's quite confusing.
It's an absolute horror show.
Yeah.
It's impossible to tell how they worked this one out. Obviously it was based on last year's seeding, but to your point, I think so Province won it and ended top of the log. They owned last year's tournament.
Yeah.
Yet they, I think, are playing 3, 5, and 7, and the Lions, who were second last year, are playing 8 and 4, 5 and 6.
I think they're just names in a hat.
So they play those 3 teams twice, and then
Yeah.
the other teams once. It's you talk about Super Rugby being convoluted. This is just it's a mess.
Yeah. Why can't we just have a rugby competition where everybody plays everybody home and away?
Please.
Please. We really love you.
Come on,
Nice
sorry.
change.
We love you.
Innovation. Okay, that's it for this week, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in. We promise to head back to World Cup territory next week. We've got some cool things lined up. He's excited about it. Let's get the questions rolling in using the hashtag ThinkTank, please. And we'll catch up with you then. Ciao.